week 12 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few tight ends. I have his sleepers this week. The first tight end, Mason Taylor of the New York Jets, still out there in 79% of fantasy leagues is Mason Taylor. And it's been an up and down rookie season for him, but now with Tyrod Taylor in there, quarterback, I think the numbers are going to go up a little bit for Mason Taylor. And a guy like John Mechie in this offense with Justin Fields, he would hold on to the football too long. He would take big hits, and also he wasn't that accurate of a quarterback and didn't get many players involved where it was a lot of running and holding on to the football. So week 8, it's Cincinnati for Taylor, 5 catches, 34 yards, touchdown, 8 targets. Week 10, a down game versus the Browns, a catch, 4 yards. And week 11, and New England, a mediocre game, 4 catches, 30 yards. So this week at Baltimore, I know Baltimore's defense the last month of the season's really stepped up, going out there making plays, and opponents are having trouble scoring the football. But the Jets are going to be trailing early and often in this game, you would imagine, and they're going to have to chase points, where especially in garbage time, I think we could see Mason Taylor go out there and be an okay option as a sleeper this week. The next tight end, Brock Wright of the Detroit Lions. So Brock Wright, last week was a nothing game for him. He's filling in. Obviously, is right for Sam Laporta. And to start the week, he's limited with an ankle injury, but I think he should be good to go in this one this week. And it's a great matchup versus the New York Giants, where their defense all season long hasn't stopped anyone. So Brock Wright, like I said, week 11 he didn't do much. It was a windy ball game. A lot of passes were batted down that Jared Goff threw in that one, but he did have 7 targets, which was good to see. And he only had 2 catches for 8 yards though on the 7 targets. So the targets I like for Brock Wright in last week's game. And like I said, with the bad weather condition and versus a great defense in Philly, this week indoors, back home where this offense is more high-powered, and also in a matchup versus a weak Giant defense, I think Brock Wright this week could be a decent sleeper option for fantasy owners. And he's out there in 99% of fantasy leagues. And the final tight end, A.J. Bonner of the Seattle Seahawks. He's been up and down on the list all season long, out there in 85% of fantasy leagues. And last week, one of the better games of the season, it was for A.J. Bonner. So we've seen him be a touchdown-dependent tight end on and off this season is A.J. Bonner. In the last few weeks, week 9 at Washington, a carry, a touchdown in that one on 1 yard, and 3 catches, 24 yards. Week 10 versus Arizona, 2 carries, 3 yards. And week 11, he had a monster game at the Rams, 10 catches, 70 yards on 11 targets and a rush yard. This Seahawk team, we know they traded for Rashid Shaheed. So far, he hasn't done much. Cooper Kupp hasn't done much all season long, and we're ready in week 12, like I said, so I don't think he'll do much for this Seattle Seahawks team. But Bonner arguably has been the number 2 option in this passing game all season long behind Jackson Smith-Njigba. So this week in a decent matchup at the Tennessee Titans, where their defense isn't horrible, just as a team overall, it's been a horrible year for them. I think A.J. Bonner could go out there once again and be a decent sleeper for fantasy owners. That's a few tight ends I have as sleepers for week 12 of the fantasy football season.